If football were a movie, Luis Suarez would be that character who always has something happening to him. One moment he's scoring absolute masterpieces, the next he's biting opponents, then crying after a win. Never a dull moment. He's not the fastest, not the most technical, but on the pitch he's like a hungry animal. He scored screamers, bit rivals, fell down, got back up, and kept winning. He had everything. Goals, trophies, the love of the fans, and at the same time, scandals, bans, and millions of haters. Some say he's crazy, others say he just can't accept losing. But one thing is certain, in the entire history of football, there's never been anyone who played with that level of desire, that kind of hunger. Suarez's story starts far away from Europe, money, and fame, in a small Uruguayan town called Salto. A simple neighborhood, dusty streets, run-down houses, and kids playing football barefoot all day long. His family had almost no money. His father was a worker, his mother cleaned houses. 7 kids, 1 ball. At 15, he worked as a stadium janitor just to stay in the team, cleaning floors, carrying water, collecting balls, anything so the coach wouldn't kick him out. And right at that moment in his life, she appears, Sofia. He tells his friends, "For her, I'll become someone. For her, I'll go to Europe." At 19, he makes his debut for Nacional, and that becomes his ticket to Europe. Scouts from Groningen notice him. And a few months later, Luis boards a plane for the first time in his life, from Uruguay to the Netherlands. In his very first training sessions, he shocked everyone. He could strike at goal from any position, argue with the coach, or storm off the pitch in anger. Basically, classic Suarez. But when the match started, he turned into a machine. In that season, he scored 13 goals, pulled the team out of mid-table, and instantly became a fan favorite. And of course, Ajax couldn't ignore him. Amsterdam, a big club, big ambitions, everything he had ever dreamed of. At Ajax, he truly blossomed. They gave him freedom, let him play the way he wanted, and he took full advantage of it. Goals, assists, dribbles, everything. He became captain, a fan favorite, and a nightmare for every defender in the Netherlands. But along with that, the first flashes started to appear. The dark side of Suarez. November 2010, Ajax versus PSV. Just a normal game, a bit physical, a bit tense, and then Luis completely loses it. He walks up to Bakal and bites him. Yes, literally bites him. Everyone is shocked. The media goes crazy, headlines everywhere. The cannibal of Amsterdam. The club finds him. The federation hands him a 7-match ban. But you know what's the craziest part? The fans still loved him. Because behind all that madness, they didn't see anger. They saw passion. He just didn't know how to slow down. And sometimes, he went too far. In 4 years, 111 goals in 159 matches. After that, it was obvious. The Netherlands was too small for him. And then, in the winter of 2011, Liverpool signed him for 26.5 million euros. For many people, absolutely crazy money. For Suarez, it was a ticket to the next level. When Suarez arrived in England, a lot of people thought, yeah right, just another hot-headed South American. He'll play a bit and disappear. But he turned out to be completely different. In his first 2 seasons, he scored 30 goals. And that's with a Liverpool side that wasn't even close to being a top club back then. They were floating between 6th and 8th place, and Suarez was carrying them on his back. But with Luis, it's always the same. The brighter he shines, the louder the scandals. 2013, match against Chelsea. Ivanovic is holding him in the box, Suarez loses it, and bites him on the arm. Yeah, again, the second bite of his career. A 10-match ban, a storm of criticism, headlines like, "Monster at Anfield." Anyone else would have been broken by that, but not Suarez. He comes back and turns into an absolute beast. The 2013-14 season was his peak. 31 goals in 33 matches. He was creating chances, throwing himself into tackles, crying after games. And yeah, they were 2 steps away from the title. And then, that moment, the match against Chelsea. Gerrard slips, Demba Ba scores, Liverpool lose the league. Suarez is crying right there on the pitch, not just because they lost, but because he gave everything he had, 100%, and it still wasn't enough. After that season, he had it all. The love of the fans, the golden boot, total recognition. But fate, like it always did with Suarez, had one more twist ready. A few months later, the World Cup in Brazil. For Suarez, this was the moment of his life. After that insane season with Liverpool, he was in peak form, and the whole country was waiting for a miracle from him. But fate, as always, decided to do things its own way. Before the tournament, he got injured and was actually close to missing the World Cup altogether. He rushes his recovery and makes it back in time for the game against England. And what does he do? He scores 2 goals. Against the very people who had just been calling him a scandal merchant. England is in shock. Uruguay goes absolutely crazy. And then comes the match against Italy. High tension, constant battles, dirty fouls everywhere. A classic knockout game. Suarez runs into the box, clashes with Chiellini, and bites him on the shoulder. He just straight up bites him. Chiellini shows the bite mark. The referee sees nothing, but the cameras catch everything. FIFA hits him with a ban, 9 games for the national team, and 4 months without football at all. No training, no stadiums, no matches. Everyone thinks that's it. After something like this, nobody will touch him. But Barca do. They sign him for 81 million euros, and that decision ends up changing everything. First match against Real Madrid, instant assist for Neymar, then a goal against Real in El Clasico. Straight away, he's back. Then came a brace in the Champions League. By the time Suarez fully settled in at Barcelona, the MSN trio, Messi, Suarez, and Neymar, was already running like a perfect machine. They understood each other instantly. One touch, a quick 1-2, goal, and the game was basically over. Suarez fit in perfectly. He scored, he assisted, he covered for Messi, fed Neymar with passes, did all the dirty work up front that nobody else wanted to do. He became the guy who finished everything Messi and Neymar started. In their very first full season together, MSN did unreal things. Suarez scores 25 goals and delivers 20 assists across all competitions. Barcelona win the treble, La Liga, the Copa del Rey, and the Champions League. And there's something symbolic about it. The same guy who was kicked out of a World Cup is now lifting the biggest trophy in European football over his head. Suarez finally feels like he's on top of the world. After all the scandals, bans, and injuries, he's become a true part of a dream team. The next season was even more insane. Suarez switched on full monster mode. He scored 59 goals in a single season, 40 in La Liga, 10 in the Champions League, 7 in the Copa del Rey, and 2 in the Super Cup. He won the European Golden Boot and the Pichichi as La Liga's top scorer. MSN were pure magic. Messi was the conductor, Neymar was the artist, and Suarez was the executioner. Hat tricks, outrageous goals from everywhere, volleys, overhead kicks, finishes after backheel passes. It felt like every week he was doing something unreal. But even bigger tests were still ahead. Like every great story, this one also had a goodbye. The year is 2020. Barcelona is changing. Money is tight, the team is being rebuilt, and Suarez is no longer the same explosive forward who arrived in 2014. The club makes a decision. It's time to move on. Suarez cries. Not just because he's leaving a club, but because he's leaving home, leaving the dream team. This is where Messi was. Neymar. The titles, the goals, the trebles. This was his era. A new challenge awaits. Atletico Madrid. A lot of people thought, he's not the same anymore. Too old. The madness is behind him. But Suarez crashed into the team with the exact same fire as always. In his very first season, he started scoring massive, decisive goals, dragging Atletico through La Liga. They were fighting for the title, and Suarez became Diego Simeone's main weapon. The whole of La Liga watched it like a TV series. Barcelona without Suarez were stalling, while Atletico suddenly went top of the table. Luis wasn't just scoring, he was deciding games. Match winners against Alaves, Getafe, Eibar, Real Sociedad. He carried them when the team was already running on empty, and in the end, everything came down to the final stretch of the season. May 2021. Atletico and Real are going neck and neck in the title race. Last match day. Away at Valladolid. Atletico are losing 1-0. And then, in the biggest moment of the season, who shows up? Of course, Luis Suarez. He wins the ball, breaks through one-on-one, and calmly slots it into the corner. Atletico turn the game around and win La Liga for the first time in 7 years. Suarez finishes the season with 21 league goals, becomes Atletico's top scorer, and delivers them the title. The irony? Just over a year earlier, Barcelona pushed him out, calling him too old and too problematic. And now he's the man who brings a championship to one of the toughest, most demanding clubs in Spain. The kid from the streets of Uruguay proved it once again. If you've got passion and that hunger to win, nothing is impossible. After the title-winning season with Atletico and the La Liga trophy, he goes back home, to Uruguay, to Nacional, and it's symbolic as hell, the place where it all started, now welcoming him back as a legend. And of course, he delivers. 8 goals in 16 games, a Uruguayan league title, and standing ovations in every stadium. Suarez shows it one more time. For him, there is no such thing as too late. But the adventure doesn't end in Uruguay. In December 2022, he signs with Brazilian side Grêmio. New country, new league, new challenges. And Suarez? Same story. He scores, he leads, he carries the team. 29 goals and 11 assists in 33 games, top scorer for Grêmio. But by mid-2023, he feels it. Time to be closer to family. Time for the final chapter. So the road takes him to the United States. To Inter Miami, where Messi, Busquets, and Alba are already waiting for him. And once again, Suarez shows his character. 20 goals in 27 matches, the leader of the attack, the key figure behind his team's success in the MLS regular season. Still decisive, still hungry. In September 2024, he officially retires from the Uruguay national team. 143 caps, 69 goals. But his story doesn't stop there. It continues on MLS pitches, where he shares his experience, inspires younger players, and becomes a role model. Luis Suarez's career is a journey from a street kid to a true legend. He proved that passion, obsession, and love for the game can overcome anything, and that the love of the fans lives on long after the final whistle.